So let's take you through the grid for the Junior Rotax Super Heat. Pole position, Harry Bartle, the current points leader, starts from the inside of the front row. Alongside him, one of his protagonists this season, last year's Mini-Max champion, Jacob Ashcroft. Boris Maximov and Thijs van Wijk round out row number 2. Ahead of the Dan Holland Racing pairing on row 3 of Cameron Nelson and Tom Strella. It's an all-KR Sport row 4 with Vlad Domenchuk and Ollie Wise. Boevan Power round out row number 5 and complete the top 10 with a 290 of Bram van der Weken and a 242 of Lars Lambers. Raymond Bansel and Max Sidersky round out row 6 with Noah Janssen and Naomi Garcia. Will Archer and Alexander Van Meeuwen round out row 8 with Rory Armstrong, joined by one of 2 Georgian drivers here this weekend, Mate Kobehidze. Isaac Barker and Jake Menton complete the top 20, with the final row rounded out by the 221 of Jim Buck and the 215 of Elliot Surtees. Drivers now going on to their official formation lap and weaving from side to side. In some respects, you can look at it from a confidence standpoint, getting themselves into that zone of getting ready to go racing. Of course, the rolling start, very, very crucial. One of the big things about yesterday, now I mentioned about the characteristics of this circuit. The start-finish straight has a little bit of a camber to the right-hand side. Very atypical to something like, say, Brands Hatch. And one of the best starts we saw was where the outside road got an advantage, and Max Jolly in Mini-Max showcased that by sending it round the outside of a certain Vince van der Hollen. However, Max didn't manage to win that, but that heat, that was heat 2, still finished second. So, now we wait. The gantry just over the cafeteria, filled with spectators. The mechanics gantry just off of the chicane. That's where the dummy grid is located. They will be keeping an eye on what transpires over the next 9 minutes plus an additional lap. So Bartle and Ashcroft start controlling the pace as they come up the incline here on the start-finish straight. Red lights on the gantry. Revs are eyes, lights are on. Lights are out, we're on the way first time, and it's the scramble to T1. And straight away, Maximov up the inside. Ashcroft losing 2 positions, manages to cover off one of the KR Sport drivers. Someone got a little bit compromised a bit further back, but it's a good start from Harry Bartle along with Boris Maximov. 3rd place, Cameron Nelson. 4th, Jacob Ashcroft. Tom Strella in 5th. Field makes its way nearly 2 by 2 in the middle part of it. Down into Chemin de Fer at turn 6. Now the run through into Escargot. Good lead initially gotten by Harry Bartle at the front end of the field, the 273. Cameron Nelson is on a little bit of a charge at the minute, having started down in 5th on the inside of row number 2. He is up to P3 and is trying to catch up with Maximov and Bartle at the front end of the field. Top 3 after the opening lap, covered by 0.57 of a second. Ashcroft, Serla, Tomenchuk, Raymond Bansel, the sole Indian representative, up 4 places. Now to P7 ahead of Bram van der Weken. Max Sidersky up 3 spots to 9th ahead of Ollie Wise. And they complete the top 10. Noah Janssen up 2 spots from 13th, now runs P11. Here's a move up the inside in the Chemin de Fer. That's the change for 4th position between the 2 DHR teammates. Tom Strella getting through on Jacob Ashcroft. So Bartle continues to hold on to this race lead, looks to expand that gap. It was 0.33 after the opening lap. Now it is 0.37 as here's the move from Cameron Nelson. Squeezing through by millimetres did the 241 from Dan Holland Racing. And that was a neat move. It was just enough of a door left open, ever so slightly by Boris Maximov, just trying to carry a bit more momentum through into that first corner. And Nelson was just able to literally send it up the inside. And now, shades of 2022 there. Strela up the inside of Maximov. Now, people might remember Strela and Maximov have moved up at the very same time. 2 years ago, they were both in the mini-max class. And then, well, they were battling over the European crown, which Maximov actually won by just one solitary point. Now, Maximov seems to be struggling a little bit here in terms of pace. Ashcroft is going to start trying to make a move. Strela makes a move on Nelson, makes it through. Ashcroft through on Maximov at the same time, same corner. So this could be the opportunity. Strength in numbers, I think. And we've got 3 karts from Dan Holland Racing trying to chase down one of the drivers from Strawberry. Harry Bartle, who at the moment has over a 3/4 of a second lead following on from the first 3 laps. And now it is a case of the fall behind at the 273 from the United Kingdom. They need to start pushing each other along. Don't start fighting. And also when you have teammates in close proximity, you also have to bear that into account. Coming up to just over 5 minutes to go. Cameron Nelson now overtaken by Jacob Ashcroft. So Ashcroft up to P3, Nelson down to 4th. Maximov trying to do what he can in the 230 OTK. And is right in the wheel tracks of Cameron Nelson coming out of turn 4 and into 5. Might look to send it up the inside through into Chemin de Fer, decides against it. And on that particular occasion, I think if he came down out of turn 5 with a full head of steam, I'm sure that there would have been an opportunity for him to facilitate that move and get through. However, that gap at the front end of the field looks to be expanding. So 3/4 of a second after lap 4, lap 5 now completed. And Bartle continues on his merry way. However, there has been a couple of changes. Well, Bartle's lead is now 6.5 tenths. Ashcroft, new fastest lap, 56.545 for the 222 from Western Supermare. So one of the good things is that Tom Strela and Jacob Ashcroft have known each other for quite a long time. We've raced together. So they'll know how each other work, how each other thinks. So in some respects, that's a really, really good thing to have. But when we get to the finals later on, 1:25 p.m. is when the junior final is. It's everyone for themselves. Gap now between first and second is 3.5 tenths and closing. Thijs van Wijk, who started on the outside of row number 2, currently running P11, has the new fastest lap in the race. Rory Armstrong on the comeback trail, the youngster from County Down, Northern Ireland, up 5 spots to P12. Might have an opportunity, considering both Van Wijk and Janssen are within are ahead of him, and they are covered by a second. So this will give a possible motivational spur for Rory, mechanic by Dad Andrew, or Andy. And he'll just be saying, right, you know what you've got to do, just do it. And that's going to be quite crucial. Cameron Nelson is being caught by several drivers behind. Well, he's been passed by Maximov. And then look at the train behind. There goes the 29. That was the 297 of Max Sadursky trying to pick off opponents. He got through on Raymond Banzel. And then also got through on the... Oh, he's now got Cameron Nelson in front of him. In that train, you've got the likes of Ollie Wise, Noah Janssen, Thijs van Wijk, Rory Armstrong. And Armstrong a little bit further back. Well, Janssen's been overtaken, so Van Wijk now has 10th place. And now the top three are very, very close together. Bartle was ranking after heat's leader. Ashcroft, who's in third, was second. Strela, despite a disaster in the second heat where an incident meant that the Latvian was off the circuit. Now the battle for the race lead heats up. 3 laps to go. 67 thousandths between P1 and P2. And now Bartle knows he's got to work for this. This isn't going to come his way easily if he wants a third win in a row. Under braking, Strela was sideways, manages to catch it. Ashcroft is waiting, biding his time. Dad Barry, who celebrated his birthday yesterday, mechanics him. And we've got one around. That is 290. That is off the circuit. Oh dear, that was Bran van der Weyken. I think Ollie Wise might have one of the other drivers that went off. I did see a KR Sport kart involved. So that was coming out of turn number 4. Yeah, well, Van der Weyken got turned around, and it was the oh dear, Rory Armstrong caught up in that, and Ollie Wise off the circuit. A real shame. But now, with 2 laps still to go, Bartle leads. Maximov rejoins the fray and is swinging wide into corners. That means he's carrying more momentum into turn 4 for the penultimate time here on lap 10 out of 11. And look at this! Look at how close they are packed. It's like waiting to take off the lid off a sardine can. That's how tightly packed these drivers are at the minute. Timer has expired. Just over 1.5 kilometres remain. And Bartle so far has led every single lap. But Tom Strela, disaster in Heat 2 for the youngster based just outside in the suburbs of Riga. Now battling, now fighting, now putting pressure on Bartle to respond. And Bartle covers off Strela going into turn 2. Now it's a case of just wait and bide your time. There's going to be an opening, but who's it going to be for? Is it going to be Bartle? Is it going to be Strela? Is it going to be Ashcroft? Will it be even Maximov? Through into 5, now into 6 at Chemin de Fer. And as I said, sometimes when you're in a bit of a train, it can be very, very difficult indeed to try and make an overtake. Now it's bringing back in Cameron Nelson, along with that Max Sadursky, Noah Janssen now up into 7th. But it is going to be the fact now, what will Strela do here? Will he get the run? Will he get the toe? It's not going to be the case. 3 wins out of 4. Harry Bartle wins it by 21 thousandths at the line after 11 laps of this circuit. Tom Strela started 6th, finishes 2nd. Ashcroft and Maximov round out the top 4. Cameron Nelson finishes 5th. Max Sadursky and Noah Janssen both make up 6 places respectively to round out the top 7 places. And Ayman Bansal, Thijs van Wijk and Lars Lambers complete the top 10. Vlad Tomanchuk, Will Archer, Naomi Garcia, Alexander Van Meeuwen, Rory Armstrong ran at the top 15 with Mate Gobeidze, Ollie Wise, Jim Buck, Jake Menton, Bran van der Weyken, Elliot Surtees and Isaac Barker round out the finishing order. Well, Harry Bartle has just provisionally put himself on pole for the final at 1:25 this afternoon. What will happen? You're going to have to wait and find out.